A consistent practice will help you understand your emotions better, manage them better, give you space to process sorrow, even when you feel a little bit too ecstatic after a winning trade. It helps you process all of these different emotions. It helps you process grief as well from losses.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're sitting down with Yvan Byeajee. We've been speaking many years ago, 2015 actually. It was episode number 7 of the podcast series. He was one of my very first guests. Good to have you back, Yvan. It's been a long time for sure. And we're going to talk about how you progressed, how you went from where you were back then with many years of experience in the market. And first of all, how's it going today?
I'm doing great, Etienne. It's beautiful and sunny outside, so it's lifting my mood. So I'm very happy. And thank you again for having me on the podcast. It's been a very long time, and it's great to reconnect with you. Not only that, I mean, it's a real honor for me to be able to present myself and the work that I do in front of your audience, and an intelligent audience, I would add, because they seek to understand the market and how to successfully navigate within it. And they're in the right place. I mean, I've been watching some of the interviews you've had with other folks, and they're really great.
That's awesome. And you are in my own city in Montreal, Canada, which is a pretty cool place. So you told me before one time that you moved in the past. I kind of want to go back to, and we can discuss more in details like why you're in Montreal and everything around. But I want to go back to your story. You have a pretty amazing story of how you became a trader, how you had to transition through becoming a trader, then become profitable. Can you maybe go back a little bit and go back to that story of how you became a profitable trader?
So, first of all, my work in the trading realm centers around trading psychology, and my goal here is to provide as much information as possible, which is quite hard to do in an hour or so, because trading psychology is such a vast topic. But I'll do my very best. But yeah, a little bit about me. I was born on the island of Mauritius. It's a tiny tropical patch of land right beside Madagascar in the Indian Ocean. That being said, I was raised in France and now I'm based in Canada. I've been living here for the past 20 years or so. And I've been trading for a living since 2006. But I've been interested in financial markets and studying trading and investing since at least 1996. So at that time, I was still a teenager, 16 or 17 years old. And I remember one day I was hanging out in my high school's library and I saw the book, How I Made $2 Million in the Stock Market by Nicholas Darvis. And so, I took the book, I brought it home out of curiosity and began reading it slowly, a little bit daily, one page or two every day. And I mean, lo and behold, I became fascinated by Darvis's life and the success he had achieved in the market. So I mean, that's what piqued my interest initially. Then over the years, I made it my mission to save enough money for a decent trading account. And in 2016, in 2006, I plunged full time into the endeavor. Well, needless to say, my journey to success wasn't straightforward. It wasn't as straightforward as I thought it would be. I struggled a lot on my way to consistent profitability in the market. Lots of ups and downs. Uh, the market handed me the same lessons many times over before they finally seeped into my bones. And one area where I've struggled the most was trading psychology. My mindset. Trading losses would break me mentally and spiritually, even though I had a good trading system even back then, and I was pretty good at keeping my losses under control, but losses would still break me spiritually and mentally. So, I had to constantly learn new things, unlearn others, limiting beliefs, and all of that. But eventually, I was able to chart a more profitable path for myself. And nowadays, I manage a multi-million dollar fund for me and my clients. Um, I'm such an introvert, and I never thought that in 1,000 years I would have managed people's money, but here we are today. Anyway, Etienne, you could say that I'm doing pretty well for myself, and I say this with a lot of humility. I've been very fortunate, especially given my background. I mean, I don't come from money to begin with. I come from a very poor family. We lived on welfare programs, food stamps, and all of that. That was my reality growing up, and that's what originally got me attracted to the market from such an early age, I guess. Right from the start, I understood that if I mastered trading, I would be able to lift myself and my family out of poverty. One of the most critical issues facing the world today is the wealth gap. But thanks to the internet and the accessibility of things like trading and investing and podcasts like yours, the disparity between the haves and the have nots can be reduced in a way that has never been possible before. And I find that very appealing. So that's a little bit about me, where I was and where I currently am.
I just want to point out 10 years to learn to trade, like from 1996 for you, like 2006. It's a long period, and most people would never expect that it would take them that long to learn to trade. But I know plenty of people who took that long or even longer to be able to learn to trade. What do you think kept you going during those times? Is it like a passion you have for the market, for trading, or is it something different?
This was a passion for me right from the get-go, right when I discovered that book, from Darvis. It sort of opened my mind to the possibilities that are available, in the market on a daily basis, and I was just fascinated by that. And yes, over the years I took a lot of time to learn trading, but I was working on the side, trying to save enough money for a decent trading account. So that's why it originally took me so much time to get into trading, but when I finally did in 2006, there was no looking back. I was, heart, mind, soul into the process, into the endeavor, and there was no way I was going back to a quote unquote normal day job after that.
How did you shift from becoming basically learning about trading to becoming profitable in trading? Did that take like a long time to switch that, or was it just a few things that you had to kind of change and you were good to go after?
Right. So basically, I was struggling a lot because of my mindset. I made a lot of trading errors when I started in 2006. And it took me about 5 years to really sort of, so I spent 5 years losing and treating water in the market before it finally clicked that, um, it was my mindset. My problem was really internal. Like, it's my perspective on life and my perspective on the market and my fear of uncertainty and my inability to manage my emotions and all of that. And it's only when I realized this that I decided to really do some deep mindset work on myself, and which led me to study meditation and mindfulness on retreats. I spent, uh, quite some time living as a Buddhist monk in Buddhist monasteries and in different traditions in Vipassana, Dzogchen, and Zen, learning about meditation, learning about this thing called the mind, my own experience, and trying to figure out what went wrong in my trading, why I lost so much money over the years. And so, yeah, it was a long mindset work.
I know we discussed meditation a lot the last time we spoke together. I'm curious if you could describe your mindset back then compared to how it is today. Like, what are some things you thought about back then that maybe you don't think about anymore today?
Well, I feel it's first important to explain to people what trading psychology is, because people will often use the term market psychology and trading psychology interchangeably. I like to make a distinction personally between those two. Market psychology is the study of historical buying and selling behavior and how they appear on charts. The trends, patterns, and streaks these this selling behavior generates, and we study that because we're trying to gain insights into what the future could be. Okay, not axiomatic, but could be. This is very important. Trading psychology, I like to think of it more as the mindset one brings with them into the trading arena. And it can be a good mindset, like good in that it's conducive to you making money in the market, or it can be a bad mindset in that it's conducive to you losing money in the market. I feel it's very important as a trader to develop a good trading psychology, one that helps you make money and keep money. Very important. You have to be able to keep what you make, right? And so it's only when I understood this personally that I was able to shift my trading, because the endeavor of trading is purely psychological, in my opinion. Of course, it's not 25% psychological, it's not 50% psychological, it's 100% psychological. For those of you listening to to this podcast, who think that a market edge and a risk management plan have to come first, rest assured, I completely agree with you. A trader needs a market edge, a systematic way of picking entries and exits, coupled with a risk management plan. No question about that. Without that edge, there would be no trading, only gambling. Still, I think that your trading psychology determines whether or not you trade your system the way it wants you to trade. It determines whether or not you control your risk intelligently, strategically, and it determines whether you take your signals when they appear. It determines whether you let your profits run, or you cut them too early. It determines your pattern recognition skills. It determines your your independence of thought. So you're not constantly swayed by the noise. I mean, I could go on and on like that. That's why the right trading psychology is so important, and that's what I mean by trading is 100% psychology. Trading psychology precedes everything else, because it's what you bring to the game, and it's either working for you or against you. And for most traders out there, their psychology is working against them, not for them. And that's unfortunate, because the problem is that they're not even aware of it. They're sort of aware that their psychology could be the problem in a sort of loosey goosey way. And, oh, I'm not disciplined enough, or I'm too emotional, I'm not patient enough, or I keep making those stupid mistakes. They know it's an issue inside of them, but then they're constantly looking for solutions outside of them. New indicators, new softwares, new trading gurus to follow, uh, new this, new that, all the while completely ignoring that the solution is within them. It's there. They just have to be looking. They just have to be willing to look inside. That's a problem I encountered myself. I was making compulsive, impulsive trading errors over and again. And it was very hard for me to approach trading with stability of mind, with emotional maturity. And once again, it's only when I understood the importance of that mindset work that I was able to chart a more profitable path for myself.
How does someone know, like the average trader, how do they know if they have a mindset problem or a strategy or risk management problem? How do they know which one to work on?
Their own struggles in the market should point them in that direction. Personally, as I said before, in 2006, I began to trade for a living. So and this was actually the start of a multi-year enrollment in the quote unquote school of hard knocks. It's a poetic way of putting it. So yeah, most traders, they struggle in the market. It's rare that you're gonna find a trader who starts trading and right from the get go is profitable and making a living and is consistent, because this doesn't come naturally. Trading is counterintuitive. It requires us to do things that are that aren't natural for us. For the normal human being, right? If you're a sociopath or a psychopath, for sure things could potentially be easier for you, because you sort of react in different ways. But if you're a normal functioning human being, trading will be difficult for you. I mean, that's a you know so if yeah, at the beginning you're definitely going to lose money, you're going to treat water, you're going to make some profits here and there, but almost certainly you're going to end up losing that profit. And this should point you in the right direction, because when you encounter those losses, you'll start to notice that your system sort of, it can't guarantee you profits on a trade by trade basis. And so what you got to do is that you got to sort of get your mindset in the right place, so that you're not making trading errors. Because there's a difference between systematic losses and emotions based trading errors. And this It's this emotions based trading errors that you want to eliminate. Systematic losses, I mean, they're part and parcel of the trading process. You got to learn to accept that. But emotions based trading errors, they're a big no no. You got to find a way to limit them. That's when people realize that emotions based trading errors are generally very sticky. They're hard to eradicate. That's when they realize that there's a deeper work that needs to be done in that trading, and it's often a mindset one.
So just so people understand, when you say emotions based trading, it's things like lacking discipline, like not respecting your plan because you don't feel like it, or something. Things like over trading, things like also missing trade, which for me was a big thing in the past. Those are things that kind of are based in emotions. Is this something else you have in mind that kind of come up for you or people you work with in terms of emotional based trading?
Yeah, I mean, most traders are really too emotionally invested in their trades. Every trade is an emotional roller coaster. Winning trades give them a buzz, losing trades make them depressed. They can never summon enough patience to wait for their trades, or to let them work without compulsively tweaking them. I mean, this is the ultimate predicament of most traders out there, and that's why market success is so elusive, esoteric, so close yet so out of reach. Because people are desperately looking for external solutions. Their real issues are internal. Okay, and they're not even aware of that. But eventually, in a trader's journey, they become aware of that. If they stay in the game long enough, this becomes more and more apparent to them, and that's when I would argue the real journey starts.
I saw one of your quotes on Twitter recently, and by the way, you post a lot of really good content on Twitter. So if people want to follow you, that would be awesome for them to follow you. It's free content, and these quotes are awesome that you put out. But the quote you put out was saying something like, "Trading, if done long enough, rewires your brain." I want you to tell us more about this and how that kind of works out.
What so Trading basically is a journey towards mastery. When you want to learn to drive, like, you don't learn by just learning how to drive via reading books and taking courses and all of that. You got to be in the field and actually get into a car and drive. You're going to make mistakes here and there, but it's all part of the process of learning. And trading is exactly the same thing. The only thing is that people have it backwards. They want to make money first before even having developed the right skills, the right mental skills to to navigate the market, to navigate the uncertainties of the market. And so this is a long process. It's a long process of learning to accept uncertainty, of learning to manage your emotions, and sticking with your trading system and your trading plan, and sort of focusing on the long-term picture, and of developing this sort of probabilistic outlook. And that's what I mean by trading rewires your brain if you stay with it long enough, because you're developing this set of qualities that are conducive to winning in the market. And this, once again, this doesn't come easy. It takes time, it takes practice, but as the saying goes, practice makes perfect. Well, what's more, perfect practice makes perfect. And so that's what trading does for you. If you stay in the game long enough, if you manage your risk, if you trade small so as not to blow up, because you're learning, right? There's no point in trying to make money right from the get-go. You got to focus on learning. And when you do that, you realize that trading is very similar to any journey uh, towards mastery out there. Whether you're into piano or playing guitar or public speaking or anything like that. It's really a process of learning to control yourself. You're sort of mapping out the territory. In the case of trading, you're learning how the markets function, and what makes a successful behavior in that environment. In the long run, that pays off.
So how does one go? Let's say they realize they have an issue with their mindset in trading, or they have an issue with emotions, and they react based on emotions with their trading. How do they go about improving that? How do they go about fixing that issue of mindset to get back on the right track?
It's about understanding that trading success is possible. It's the market is not rigged against you. Rather, it's your own psychology that's most of the time that's rigged against you. And to set your psychology right, this requires a lot of work initially. And this, I would argue, this is where the bulk of the work needs to be done, in my opinion. Even for systematic rule-based traders, because trading at the end of the day is a mental game. It's a game you play against yourself, because you're the one making the decisions and pulling the trigger ultimately. And if you have a lot of internal conflicts and limiting beliefs, and if you have a short fuse and don't know how to manage your emotions, I mean, winning as a trader is practically impossible. You'll tend to make a lot of costly trading errors, and you won't get anywhere significant. Now, I don't know if you've heard about these statistics. It's commonly accepted that most traders fail to produce consistent profits in the market. This is conventional wisdom, but more and more studies are bearing out this harsh truth about trading. And this is not to discourage your audience, Etienne. It's to really to help them, to help you all understand that you need all the spokes in the wheel, so to speak, to make uh, trading for a living a viable thing. If you want to trade for a living, if that's your thing, to make trading a viable thing, you need all the spokes in the wheel. If you focus on the different aspects of trading and exclude trading psychology, trading is just not going to be a profitable thing in the long run. So um, now, and I want to add, even if you have a profitable trading system, all right, you need to give as much time to trading psychology as you give to risk management or chart analysis or what have you. You have to approach trading from a more holistic point of view and give equal importance to all of its elements. Trading is not just about finding the best trades, it's also about how you consistently handle yourself as you grind your way to your various financial goals. So, a winning trading psychology is a real competitive market edge, one could argue. And many of the world's most renowned traders and investors know this. For instance, I don't know if you know about this, Etienne, but billionaire trader and hedge fund Paul Tudor Jones pays Tony Robbins, the renowned motivational speaker, millions, literally millions of dollars each year to help him with his trading psychology. You don't have to believe me on this, just Google it when you have a moment. I believe Business Insider wrote an article on this. I mean, this is how important trading psychology is. So, personally, what has helped me in my own journey, as you already know, as I've been on this long meditative journey, and I've spent a lot of time with this, doing this introspective practice and analyzing my thoughts and my minds and my emotions. And so, yeah, I mean, if you do a quick Google search, you'll find an onslaught of trading psychology solutions out there. And let's not sugarcoat things. Most of them are surface level trading psychology solutions that don't really produce results, that are too generic and not insightful enough or practical enough to be truly helpful. Honestly, or else we wouldn't have such high failure rate amongst traders. You know, so my solution, is mindfulness meditation. It's not a magic solution, but it's a practice that if you can cultivate and sustain and turn into a daily habit, will help you over time develop maturity in how you relate to your emotions, in how you sort of deal with uncertainty in the market. This will help you win the mental game of trading. And that solution is science backed. I mean, it's reliable and it really produces results. Yeah, so that's what I teach personally. And the best way to explain it to you, I guess, Etienne, is to guide you through a short practice, and our audience can follow along if they're interested. Would you like to do that?
Yeah, of course, that's good. And I just want to mention this because the fact that a lot of people feel like the only way for them to improve and move forward in trading with the mindset is like getting a coach. I think like a coach can be really good, but it's I think not the only way to do it. You can there's a lot of things you can do by yourself, like meditation you mentioned, that could be a really good addition to make this better. So if you want to guide us through this, that would be awesome. I think people can get a lot of value out of it.
Meditation is definitely one solution in the many solutions that are available out there, and it's the solution that has worked for me, and this is what I teach as well. If you're ready, you can do a very short practice for 5 minutes just to give your audience an idea of what the practice is about and how simple it is as well. So just sit comfortably, right where you are, eyes opened, eyes closed, whatever you prefer, Etienne. When your eyes are closed, this lends to more of a meditative state. But when your eyes are open, this helps ground you more in the present moment. So it's really up to you. Just sit comfortably and become aware of your breathing. Breathing in, know that you're breathing in. Breathing out, know that you're breathing out. That's it. Nothing special, nothing esoteric, just simple breath awareness. You're not controlling your breath, you're just aware of it. You're aware of how it's ebbing and flowing. Breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. Now become aware of all the sensations in your body. First, the sensations that make up your face, then your head, your ears, your neck, chest, back, arms, hands, your bum, thighs, knees, calves, feet. Become aware of sounds. Simply be aware of what presents itself within that framework called the body. Stay alert and awake and attentive to what's arising, whatever that is. And see how attentive you can be to the arising of thoughts, whether it's images of the past or the future, whether it's your inner monologue, passing judgments. Just observe what's happening without adding anything to it. Just passively observing, noticing, seeing, with complete acceptance of what's arising for you in the moment, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, comfortable or uncomfortable. Just pure awareness of what's happening. If you have thoughts, notice what happens to thought when you notice it. Does it stay? Does it dissolve? and disappear. Just notice. And notice how everything is just impermanent. This sensation, that sensation, this thought, that thought, this sound, that sound. It doesn't make any difference. Something arises and it passes away without any effort, without any conscious effort. It's like they have a life of their own. And notice how insubstantial everything is: your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, sensations. When you don't grasp onto them, when you don't take them to be I, me, my emotions, my thoughts, when you just passively observe them as if from a third person perspective, notice how insubstantial they are. They appear, they disappear. There's no you in there. It's just empty phenomena arising and passing. Now, for the final step, bring your attention back to the autonomous breath. Notice how it's there all along. It's always there in the background, even when you don't notice it. And that's it. 5 minutes, about 5 minutes went by. You can open your eyes. So, I mean, I hope you got a sense of the simplicity of the instructions with respect to the practice of mindfulness. It's really that simple. Like, actually, this right there are the instructions, pretty much, not quite, but pretty much all the instructions for the practice. So it's really all you need to know. Sitting or standing in any posture, eyes closed, eyes opened, and simply being acutely aware of what's arising and doing it non judgmentally. And then seeing what you learn from being aware. And I wanted you and your audience to do this short practice with me today because I wanted you to get a glimpse of what mindfulness could be experientially. Because you will often hear platitudes like mindfulness is living in the present moment, but this doesn't fully describe what mindfulness is, in my opinion. Because look, dog, for instance, live or they seem to live in the present moment, right? But they don't look mindful at all. Okay, I mean they're all over the place. So mindfulness has to mean something else, something deeper than just living in the present moment. And a better definition of mindfulness could be that it's the awareness that arises from paying attention on purpose in the present moment and non judgmentally. You're feeling whatever it is that you're experiencing in the present, and you're being aware of it in exquisite detail. While you're doing it, while you're doing this observation, you're doing it with complete acceptance, without an ounce of craving for what's pleasant and aversion for what's unpleasant, for what's uncomfortable. So that's a better way of describing what mindfulness is, instead of defining it as just living in the present moment. But but still, as good as this definition is, it still doesn't do it quite justice. It's like I'm asking you to say in just a few words what is art, or what is love. It's not that easy, because mindfulness, just like art or love, even though those are very simple, even prosaic words, the word themselves in English don't really capture the full, I guess, the richness of the experience. um, and actually the mind state that is mindfulness is hugely rich and hugely nuanced. I mean, in Buddhism, there are sutras upon sutras describing what it is and what it isn't. It's also is subject of debate amongst Buddhist scholars. They debate, around where mindfulness stands in the whole, in the whole Buddhist philosophy thing. Because as you know, over the centuries, Buddhism has evolved across Asia, and different traditions and cultures developed their own understanding of the original teachings of the Buddha, which is very common. I mean, you see this in all other major religions as well.
That's a really cool exercise, and I think there's a lot of value into it. I've personally gone through this like many times in the past, some mindfulness meditation as well. But I know some people who might feel like this won't help them because the fact that it's too simple, or that like it's just like you sit with your eyes closed and that's it. How can this really help my trading? Like some people are gonna be confused about this. You want to share maybe just the science behind it a little bit, or like why this is helpful for trading?
What I can say for sure is that some of the main characteristics of mindfulness is clear seeing, and insight. Those are the elements in the mind that you are reinforcing with a consistent mindfulness practice. And you're reinforcing these qualities because what the practice does is that it changes your relationship with uncertainty. This is very important. Mindfulness meditation changes your relationship with uncertainty, which is a big thing in trading in the market. it's it's the uncertainty of the future, of how price will unfold, of what the outcome of your next trade will be. And this is what most traders struggle with. They can't accept, embrace that uncertainty, and relax in the midst of it. And the thing you got to understand, Etienne, is that humans are information processing systems, and we are natural manifestations of the laws of physics and of the evolutionary process. And our brains are computing things all the time. That's what intelligence is. If you were to describe what intelligence inherently is, there's a lot of computation going on. And in our case, most of it happens below conscious awareness, in our subconscious mind. And most of that computation involves some sort of prediction of the future. We're always doing that. Simply put, we're doing it for survival reasons. You know, when we can't figure out the future, when we're faced with uncertainty, it this profoundly destabilizes us. And so wise men and sages of the past understood this very well, very early on. In fact, in some Eastern cultures, they were having very deep insights about the structure of reality and the organization of the world, and all of that. We're talking about 2,000, 3,000 years ago. They were able to develop deep intuitions through reflective practices like meditation. And perhaps more importantly, those meditation practices, they help them make peace with the way things are, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant. And this is the power of the practice, Etienne. It's really about, it helps you make peace by observing things how they are, not how you would like them to be. This helps you make peace with the way things are. Whether it's uncertainty, whether it's what's pleasant, what's unpleasant in life, suffering and all of that. Helps you make peace with things that are difficult to accept. And so now science is starting to explain what these folks, sages and wise men were articulating in a simple language back then. Again, we're talking about thousands of years ago. Science is now confirming the benefits of meditation. And in fact, there's a growing body of scientific research that suggests that it has lasting effect, positive effects, on the brain. It helps with decision making, stress and anxiety, emotional maturity, uh, independent thinking. It's essentially all the qualities that are needed to thrive in the market. So it's not an anecdotal evidence anymore. It's empirical, it's statistical. Okay, that's why it's become so popular with the finance crowd these days. In fact, mindfulness meditation classes and workshops at Goldman Sachs have a long wait list. I'm talking about hundreds of names long, according to Bloomberg. And it's understandable. No one wants to miss out on a possible competitive edge in the market. Many of the world's Most renowned traders and investors use some form of meditation to help them develop and maintain a trading psychology edge or an investing psychology edge. They begin their day sitting on a cushion, on a meditation cushion. For instance, um, Ray Dalio, founder and CEO of Bridgewater Associates, the world's largest hedge fund, he famously said something along the lines of, meditation more than any other factor has been the reason for what success I've achieved. Paraphrasing, Ray Dalio has even built many of the principles he learned as a long-time meditation practitioner into his firm's culture. I know Paul Tudor Jones also meditates. He's on record saying that meditation has helped him become a better individual, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I know Linda Rashke as well, a veteran trader featured in Jack Schwager's Market Wizards, is also a fan of meditation. I mean, those market legends and others certainly practice different styles of meditation, but all of them have an element of mindfulness to them. One thing I want to add, Etienne, is that even though I've personally spent a lot of time studying mindfulness and its epistemology in Buddhist monasteries, mindfulness isn't Buddhist, nor is it Hindu or Muslim or Christian. Mindfulness is not a religion, okay? It's mindfulness is a fundamental quality of the human mind, and it's accessible to anyone who's willing to look into it. And I hope I made that clear. It's not a religion, it's a quality of mind that you can practice through through brain exercises like meditation.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a really good advice. I know there's a lot there, so people can explore for sure. Now, if you do this exercise once, it's good, but it's not going to make a big difference in your trading. How often should you do this? Just like every day, or when you need it, or like how do you kind of figure this out?
Yeah, I've been meditating for a very long time now, and I do it at a minimum once a day. But I ideally, most of the time I do it twice a day. I do it in the morning before I begin the trading day for 20-30 minutes, and at night as well for 20-30 minutes before I go to bed. And this has been a game changer for me, on like honestly, because in the morning it helps set the tone for my trading day. It helps me become more aware of my emotions and my thoughts. I'm a neurotic person. I'm an overthinker. And because I'm such a creative person, and I say this with a lot of humility, but this is a double-edged sword. Being so creative, it sort of makes you a neurotic person. I have a lot of thoughts careening into my consciousness, and I'm also very prone to depression as well. So mindfulness helps me sort of become a little bit more aware of my thought process, and to distance myself a little bit more from my negative thoughts, and accept them and befriend them. This is very important. The practice helps you befriend your difficult emotions and your difficult thoughts. And over time, it aggregates into a very tangible edge in the market. I'm talking about the psychological edge here. I want to be very clear, Chen. I'm not saying that you can meditate your way to financial success. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not saying that meditation replaces proper market understanding or probabilistic thinking. I'm not saying that it replaces a statistical edge in the market. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that a consistent practice will help you understand your emotions better, manage them better, give you space to process sorrow, or even when you feel a little bit too ecstatic after a winning trade. It helps you process all of these different emotions. It helps you process grief as well from losses. It helps calm yourself down when you feel ecstatic, as I just said, after a winning trade. Essentially, a consistent meditation practice will help you cultivate equanimity, composure, which is a key element in being consistent as a trader. It will help you develop a quality of acceptance of uncertainty, of the process called life, of the natural evolution of things. And this is bound to impact the way you trade positively, I mean.
Definitely. So I know we've covered a lot here, and it's been a while. So what can people find if they want to connect with you or reach out after the interview? Where can they see your work and learn more from you?
Right. So I blog at tradingcomposure.com. My approach to trading psychology is mindfulness based, given my background, uh, and I feel it's important to state this as well to your so that your audience really knows where I'm coming from. I speak with a stutter. It's been the challenge of my life, really. And if you met me a few years ago, you would see that I wouldn't be able to form a coherent sentence without repeatedly stumbling on my words. And nowadays, I'm able to manage that stutter, so much so that you can barely hear it. So I've been able to sort of manage that stutter. I'm able to do so thanks to meditation as well, because it helps me become more aware of my emotions and manage my anxiety a little bit more. And so the practice works. It's not a magic pill, but it works. I help traders develop a solid practice that will help them in the market. So once again, I blog at Trading Composure. I share some insightful trading psychology tips and insights on my Twitter at Trading Composure. And I have a YouTube channel as well. I created one recently where I share more long-winded lessons on trading psychology. So the channel is called Trading Composure, and that's about it. And feel free to reach out if you have any question on me and the work that I do and the practice. And once again, thank you so much for having me on, Etienne. It was a pleasure reconnecting with you.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys should definitely check out Ivan and all the work he's putting out on Twitter, YouTube, and his website. I know there's a lot there, and you can learn a lot for free basically from his work. And there's a lot there for sure that you can apply to your trading directly. It's very applicable. So Ivan, I appreciate you. I appreciate your work and your advice here. That's been awesome, and look forward to connect with you in the future.